The James River Park system here in the city of Richmond really acts as the central hub of our city. It is our great wet central park, if you will.
It's the place where most people go to use trails to float down the river, to experience nature, and it's what makes Richmond a special place.
Access to green spaces in urban areas is truly important and vital to the health of all of us. Many of our urban youth have not experienced James River Park system, even though it's right in their backyard.
Richmond has a history of being a city that's been segregated. Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy at one point. There's this sense that in Richmond we live in a city of two cities. So we are creating programs that actively engage kids of color in going out and doing projects in parks so that they feel some sense of ownership in those parks.
The Manchester Wall has been this kind of hidden gem, if you will, an old bridge abutment for a railroad that you could easily get handholds and footholds in. Folks recognized that this had an opportunity for an outdoor rock climbing site.
It hasn't been traditionally accessible until a new pedestrian bridge was put in. And now you have runners, you have walkers, you have families and new people who are coming across. This summer, we're working on a trail that creates safety for pedestrians that are walking by active climbers, as well as installing new benches, doing invasive species removal, and installing a kiosk.
So what we're doing is we're making a trail, which you can see kind of in the back right here, just to kind of direct that foot traffic. So when people are coming down here, they have like a designated area to like walk through. So they're not clustered all close to the wall, interrupting the rock climbers or anything like that.
Kaylin Gillum was in our first green team. So we recruited Kaylin to come back and work with us as a green team leader this summer. Green Team is a program that engages high school youth that incorporates an educational component and a workforce readiness component.
As the Green Team leader, I oversee a lot of our conservation projects or trail maintenance, trail work, or various things like that.
The work that Groundwork RVA is doing truly is bringing that green space and connectivity to these communities. And not just bringing them to them like, here's a gift for you. It is truly working with those communities, working with the youth in those communities to ensure that the community's voice is heard and properly advocated for.
A lot of the teens who come to the Green Team program are really interested in improving the community around them, and they're eager to show themselves as those leaders.
Our youth are actually the ones that are out in front leading, as they should be.
Kaylin has had great exposure to all of the programs that we've offered and taken full advantage of them, and I think it's put him on a path to potentially being an environmental leader, and it's been really wonderful to see his sort of maturing into somebody who can help teenagers who are a lot like where he was just a few years ago.
Like as a kid, I already had a passion for the outdoors, but there was like no one really there trying to like urge me to go out to these places. And then coming from like a low income like background, we didn't really have money to like go out to these places. And Groundwork gave me that access to it, which kind of led to that passion starting to build up. So I'm like full-fledged like into this, like all the way. Now I'm using the skills and everything I've learned to try to pass it on to these guys, and hopefully they'll be in my shoes, they'll be someone's supervisor soon.
Urban youth typically don't have access to a true skill set as it relates to work and just workforce development, quite frankly. I've worked with youth that I didn't know what the right way to hold a screwdriver, right? And it's because they've never been shown. There was nobody there to say, this is how you hold the screwdriver, and this is what you do, and this is a Phillips head versus a flat head, right?
So workforce development really revolves around exposure to trail building skills, exposure to the recreational skills, basic carpentry skills, and how to identify a way to solve a problem in the environment.
You know, I like to say people can't take skills from you. A lot of things can be taken from you in this world, but they can't take your skills.
Through like everything I've done with Groundwork, it definitely gave me like a boost up as far as like skills I've acquired. So then I'm able to come back and people look at me and they're just like, how old are you? And then like they look surprised when I tell them I'm only 20.
Typically, adventure recreation has been a space that has mainly been relegated to Caucasians, and it has not been a space that has been accessible to many people that come from underprivileged backgrounds.
I'm really excited that Groundwork is going to be beginning a climbing team this fall, so that the ones that have been building the trail can also experience all of the fun things that happen when you actually climb. And new kids will come into the program and really develop a sense of ownership of that recreational side.
In the beginning, they were just like, I'm not into that, I'm not really. But then it's like they started climbing, they got up on the wall, and it's like they love it. You know, you introduce someone to something new, and as they go on, they just become interested in it, and it's great.
For many of our youth, they feel ownership. It's not just that's somebody else's, that's somebody else's space, and that's something that, you know, that's something they do, that ain't something we do. You know, it's breaking down that barrier of, you know, no, this is what you do if you like being outside. It's not about color, creed, you know, how much money you have. This is what you do if you like being outside.
All of Groundwork's projects bring the community together. You have teens, especially Richmond Public School teens, who tend to be concentrated in neighborhoods that are physically separated from many of these park users who tend to be affluent and live in different neighborhoods. So we're kind of bridging a community that doesn't talk often.
The opportunity for them to see another side of the city, another aspect of the city, you know, has really, I think, changed the way that, you know, our youth look at Richmond. Right? And I think, quite frankly, it's changed the way that our youth perceive themselves in the community as well.
It's just something about doing something for your community and giving back, and then you know these people, you all come from the same place, and you're giving them access to something that they haven't been able to have access to, and you're just also helping strengthen that community. And once you strengthen the community, then from there things can only get better.